Well, good morning. This is a chance to talk about humanities and some lessons I have learned. Having taught history and geography for 20 years, I want to pass on the three ideas of our Christ-centered curriculum. Firstly, when dealing with sustainable development, climate change, flooding, poverty, or town planning, remind the young people that they are made in the image of God. Therefore, they are born problem solvers. For the young, their challenge is to go out and solve the problems using the gifts God has given them and the wisdom he so richly bestows. Then, remind the young people to thank God afterwards. This is such a positive message, and one that puts God at the center when so often he can be left out. Furthermore, with respect to sustainable development, I invite the students to reflect on what this might look like for the human soul. The activities they take part in, the things they watch, the friendships they make. And we look at the effect not just for the next 30 years, but also for eternity. The result of such an approach is to observe that holiness is the only form of sustainable lifestyle in the light of eternity. With history, I remind students of what is often missing with the textbooks. In the case of GCSE 1920 to 1973 USA history, it is any reference to Christians or Christianity, which is surprising given that half the population of America at that time went to church, and it was very much a part of the civil rights movement. Very often, Christianity has been airbrushed out of history of the last 200 years. In fact, we have a great story to tell. Vishal Mangaradi, an Indian philosopher, I'll put up his book like this, he's written about this in his book, The Book That Made Your World, How the Bible Created the Soul of Western Civilization. And in this book, he describes how people who took the Bible seriously significantly influenced our modern understanding of service, our purpose in life, our sense of self, what it is to be human, rationality, heroism, morality, the importance of literature and education, our notion of true wealth, liberty, and why do we show compassion. It takes someone from a Hindu background to see the profound significance of the Bible in shaping Western thinking. Peter Lupson, a member of our church, one I attend, has produced very well-researched books that illustrate the practical impact of Christianity. His first book was Thank God for Football. Details how 11 of the clubs of the 2006-07 Premiership League was started by churches in the 19th century. They include Aston Villa, Everton, Liverpool, Manchester City, Southampton, and Tottenham Hotspur. With regard to the world of business, his book, In God's Company, he describes how the following businesses were started by men who love God first and who love their customers, their workers, their product, were scrupulously honest and extraordinarily generous. The companies were Colgate, Thomas Cook's, Quaker Oats, Hartley's Jam, Heinz, Kraft, and Tropicana. With regard to missionaries in the 19th and 20th century, there is an embarrassment of riches, including the more recent people such as Jackie Pullinger, Corrie ten Boom, Brother Andrew, and David Wilkerson. It was Christianity that provided many of the schools and hospitals that our modern world takes for granted. And in many cases, it was missionaries attempting to translate the Bible who created the written form of many of the languages of the world today. Christianity has definitely been a force for good and should not be airbrushed out of history. My final point is the one that gets me out of bed every morning. Throughout both geography and history, there are many opportunities to reinforce to young people the wonderful truth that the Bible is an accurate revelation from God. During this lockdown, I've taken some time to produce a website where people can access my world history booklet, plus some of the videos that introduce aspects of this Bible booklet. This booklet, which I recently revised, contains over 30 years of research into a number of topics, many of which I teach throughout Key Stage 3 and 4. The main aim of the booklet is to demonstrate that within the domains of geology, topography, biology, cosmology, history, miracles, and fulfilled prophecy, there is abundant evidence to show that the Bible is an accurate revelation from God. The website address can be seen when I load it up, so I'll present it. Before I finish, I want to explain why I find the word revelation so important. My preferred discipline is philosophy, and in that realm, all knowledge is provisional, because we are finite, and therefore we cannot know everything. As a consequence, we cannot know what we don't know, and therefore we cannot know if what we think we know is true. The Bible warns us not to be too hasty in judgment, because only God knows the full truth, and this is where the significance of revelation comes in. For revelation from God, who knows everything and who cannot lie, is the only type of knowledge that is absolute and fixed. All other knowledge is provisional. This is why I get so excited about the Bible, because it is that type of absolute knowledge, unlike the wisdom of this world. Therefore, I can build my life on it, because if the Bible says I am saved through the death and resurrection of Jesus, then I can fully believe that for myself, and this wonderful truth is freely available for all. As the Bible says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. Thank you for listening.